It's time for Positively Kansas. Coming up, springtime brings the potential for both excitement and terror to the Kansas Plains. We'll visit the danger zone with some of the best in the business. Also, we'll meet a Kansas teen who sets high goals and knows the sky is the limit. And we'll show you how Kansas wildlife is easy to spot as it forages for food just before spring begins to blossom. I'm Sierra Scott. Get set for another half hour of information and inspiration on this week's edition of Positively Kansas.
Positively Kansas is brought to you in part by...
Before investing your hard-earned money, make sure your financial advisor understands your objectives. Mark Douglas, CFP, serving our community for over 20 years, providing customized financial solutions that focus on the individual.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas serves more than 930,000 Kansans in various programs. Independent, member-owned. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, an independent licensee of Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association, supports KPTS.
Program support provided by the F. Price Kosman Memorial Trust, Entrust Bank trustee, bringing you the Kansas Wild Edge segments on Positively Kansas.
Kansas is too often ground zero for devastating spring storms. We're second in the nation in the average number of tornadoes, first if you go by square mile. Chris Frank caught up with some of the nation's top storm chasers who are gearing up for a potentially busy year here in Tornado Alley.
Power flashes! Tornadoes on the ground! Tornado!
4 storm chasers, all who live or have lived and base their work out of Wichita, but not all with the same storm chasing roles. Jim Reed captures extreme weather images. Lanny Dean will take you on an extreme chase tour.
Tornado, 100 yards in front of us.
The roads are back open for the most part here.
Tony Lawback storm chases and reports for Cake Channel 10, while Scott Roberts chases and reports for KWCH Channel 12.
So the storm chasers play a valuable role because they tell us what's actually happening on the ground.
Smith says as early as the 1950s, there were meteorologists chasing storms to study and try to understand them. It was for science, not so much yet for alerting the public. But fast forward several decades, and many television weather departments employ storm chasers to be part of the weather coverage. Think of the chaser as the eyes on the ground, confirming what the meteorologists are reporting from the studio.
I've got dust on the ground, Jay. We've got a tornado in progress.
Okay, so we now have a tornado, so we're going to continue our live coverage. But our storm chasers, we rely on them so heavily because if you say there's a tornado warning and then can actually show the viewer what is actually happening, it changes the messaging that much.
Chasers can give real-time confirmation of what radar is showing.
They need eyes on the storm to be able to know what's actually going on. Sure, they can see the upper level rotation, but is it producing anything on the ground? They don't know until somebody tells them.
Roberts was chasing for Storm Team 12 the night of Greensburg. On May 4, 2007, local weather forecasts predicted potential trouble brewing in southwest Kansas. As storm clouds grew near Woodward, Oklahoma, Roberts prepared for them to cross into Kansas.
And there was just something in my instinct that said that set of storms that's starting in Woodward is going to end up being our storm of the day.
He repositions to the Comanche County town of Protection. Sure enough, a tornado is soon spotted.
Saw some of the first tornadoes down there.
Roberts captures some images of that tornado as lightning illuminates the night sky.
And so then I ended up coming up on the Greensburg tornado from the south.
There are so many different arenas of storm chasing.
And there's a difference between spotting and chasing.
A storm spotter is stationary. A storm chaser is what the name implies, and he or she chases the storm.
Tornado number 2. Oh, it just hit another house. It just hit another house.
Like Roberts, Lanny Dean was also one of several chasing the night of Greensburg, at the time working for Cake TV.
Let's go back to Lanny Dean. Lanny, we're now live on the entire Cakeland Television Network. Tell us what you see.
Very large funnel back towards the area of, okay, tornado on the ground, Jay. Tornado on the ground, definite tornado on the ground. Near, I'm going to put it close to Sitka.
Dean believes the storm chaser plays a vital role in alerting the public to severe weather.
I think the role of a storm chaser has increased probably tenfold.
I'm about 4 to 5 miles south of Greensburg. The tornado has crossed Highway 183, definitely. It's to my northeast.
Both Dean and Roberts say they regularly communicate with the National Weather Service what they're seeing in the field.
Helping to get the word out of that warning or that watch or information back to the National Weather Service or the local media outlets and become truly a part of the warning dissemination process.
I've always had an interest in weather.
Tony Lawback and Lanny Dean have this in common. They both cut classes for their first storm chase.
I actually got in trouble for ditching classes to go storm chase. It was basically in my blood.
In his blood, he says, enough so not to only chase, but also, like Dean, to study to become a meteorologist.
You know, I was actually terrified of tornadoes as a kid, but I remember staying up late on nights we had tornado watches, and I don't know if it was out of fear, out of, just watchfulness, but I was scared to death of them.
The Ohio native says he's had a fascination with natural disasters since his youth. But later, it was a storm chasing special on the Weather Channel which introduced him to the idea of being a storm chaser.
The reporting aspect of it, the early warning, all of that kind of stuff is something that I just feel like is part of this task. It's something I need to do around my job, which is TV. Fortunately, doing live TV really fits both roles very well, because not only am I doing the journalistic side of it, but I am providing that real time, here's what's happening, you need to take action, because I am seeing what is actually going on.
Local meteorologists say the public now has an expectation of field reporting, seeing more than just what's on radar.
We have found that when we break into programming for severe weather, if you can supplement your coverage with actual live video, maybe it's a picture, maybe that's all you have at the time. Again, this is live pictures that you're looking at here. This is from our Skycam on the fairgrounds, looking back to the north. Tornado looks to be getting bigger here. If you can back up your message with actual eyewitness accounts, a picture or some video, it makes the messaging and the urgency that much better. So people tend to call in and complain less if you've got something other than just radar.
The chaser is another tool for the broadcast weather coverage.
For me, I'm acting as a tool to the people here at the station that goes along with the radar, that goes along with the expertise, that says, this is happening in real time. I'm tracking. I can tell you this tornado is at this spot.
There is no doubt an adrenaline rush to spotting tornadoes. You can hear the excitement in the chasers' voices.
Oh, it's on the ground.
Is
it?
A
tornado. It's on the ground.
Whoa, it's a wedge.
Then we'll scoot in to the south of it, underneath it, then back up. But yeah, there's certainly a wide tornado up there now.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop. Oh my God! Look at the funnel. This is incredible. We're backing up.
Tornado.
Robin, it stopped. It stopped right in front of us.
I see that.
Of course, there's an adrenaline to this. Please don't get me wrong. Any chaser out there will tell you there's, that kind of that adrenaline junkie. It's exciting and it's. But I think that our goal here as storm chasers and spotters is ultimately to convey that information as far as the warning dissemination process.
And when it comes to tornadoes, there are times when the chaser becomes the first on scene of a catastrophe, when a tornado's path intersects with people and property. Scott Roberts worked as an emergency medical technician for 4 years. He says his EMT training was needed the night of Greensburg.
I crested a hill and I came across debris in the road. Basically just the insulation from a guy's roof was in the middle of the road. But at that moment, my EMT training kicked in and I said, okay, I can no longer chase this. There's somebody back this direction that probably needs my help because obviously their house has been hit.
The Greensburg, Kansas tornado touched me in a way that and affected me in a way that I'll never forget.
Okay, right now that's the monster wedge right there, guys. That is the tornado as it was going into Greensburg.
So sometimes we're the first there, and we see the brunt of the nasty, the dark side of storm chasing.
He says there are times when a chaser has to put down the camera and dig through rubble for survivors.
I had an older lady that passed away in my arms in Greensburg, and that's been very difficult to deal with over the years.
Dean says such experiences motivates chasers all the more to the importance of being a part of the weather warning system.
That information absolutely can be and will be used to save people's lives. No question about it.
Well, Hollywood discovered storm chasing, and suddenly storm chasing wasn't just for weather nerds.
Up until 1996, it was generally science and meteorology students who were out doing the chasing. And then the movie Twister changed everything.
The movie Twister became the second highest grossing movie of 1996. It revealed storm chasing to many who never gave it any thought.
There was value in the movie Twister because it gave people a close-up visualization of what these tornadoes can do. And after Twister, we not only have non-meteorologists who are chasers, we have chasing vacations.
As the Wizard of Oz's Dorothy might say, if she only had the chance.
Yes, Toto. People from around the world actually pay to come vacation in Kansas in hopes of seeing a tornado.
Lanny Dean owns and operates Extreme Chase Tours.
I do own a tour company where we take people chasing for a living. In other words, kind of give people their dream shot, right? Not many people see a tornado in their lifetime. And so we do take a number of guests, obviously from the U.S., but many around the world.
My name is Jim Reed. I'm a weather photographer. Right now we're intercepting a tornado in western Kansas on May 8th, 2008.
I've been doing this now close to 30 years, and I've never gotten used to calling myself a storm chaser.
Jim Reed doesn't embrace the term storm chaser, but he does pursue storms, every kind of storm and weather phenomenon imaginable. Reed has been chasing the meteorological forces of nature for 3 decades, recording majestic displays like an artist finding the perfect spot to paint a particular scene.
And Chris, one of the things that draws me to doing this isn't the adrenaline rush. I mean, you're going to have one no matter what. But what I really like is to approach this from an art point of view.
The images he's taken fills books, like one titled Storm Chaser, A Photographer's Journey by Jim Reed. He's been on too many major and cable network programs to start naming them. Reed went to the University of Southern California to study filmmaking. He was already writing screenplays there when he saw the news coverage of the Andover tornado on CNN. What followed set him on a new course and career change.
And I couldn't stop watching.
That motivated Reed to move to Wichita to learn more about severe weather.
And Chris, I was so taken by how many stories people had about thunderstorms and supercells and tornadoes and blizzards and other elements for that matter. I thought there's got to be a story in here somewhere.
So he planned on writing a movie script on the subject while in Wichita when famed movie director Steven Spielberg reveals plans for a movie called Twister.
That basically shut me down because in the business, you don't want to be perceived in the early days as taking somebody on, much less Steven Spielberg.
Still, the Kansas weather stories got him to switch career gears and turn his attention to writing and photographing weather.
One of the things I like most about storm chasing is trying to capture nature the way I feel like it wants to be photographed and to do it as artfully as possible without it being fake.
Reed and his assistants often get caught up in the long lines of chasers now to be found around storm fronts. But of all the Kansas chases he's been involved with, There's this one lonely chase he likes to talk about more than all the others. It's in the loneliest of Kansas counties. Greeley County, bordering Colorado, is the least populated Kansas county. It was about 2 miles south of the county seat of Tribune, where Reed and photo assistant Robin Lawrenson encounter a land spout tornado that invited their closer investigation.
First of all, we were in this wide open field where no crops were at risk. Nobody else around.
And since no one else was around, Reed called the National Weather Service to report first the funnel and then the tornado once it touched down.
Hi, this is Jim Reed. I'm in Greeley County, about 2 miles south of Tribune. We have contact on the ground. And that would be our tornado warning.
Reed maneuvers his vehicle to intercept the tornado while trying to avoid its moving path.
Okay, we are going to stop and shoot.
It would slow down, it would speed up, and we decided to get closer. We kept doing it like in stages.
He motions videographer Lawrenson to move closer.
Look at the rotation. I think it's going through a cycle. If your heart's not pounding now, it never will.
Then, Reed says, the land spout tornado changes direction and turns the tables on the duo by chasing the chasers.
Let's go.
The two continue repositioning to match the tornado's movements.
Actually, I think we're okay.
At one point, they watch deer running away from the danger. Reed and Lawrenson have to flee also.
So now it's coming pretty much straight at us.
Getting closer and it's growing.
He does evasive driving to get away.
We're doing great.
Still looks like it's coming towards us, but...
Oh my God, this is too eerie.
But then...
It stopped right in front of us.
I see that.
Get out, shoot it. We're okay.
Reed sees this as an opportunity.
I did not plan to run up to any tornado that day.
But here, he's getting as close as anyone without a death wish might dare.
But it had stopped, and I could see the ribbons of dirt slowly coming downward instead of going up. And so that said to me, Chris, it's weakening.
Still, he says, you can't take anything for granted, but he figured he could still turn around and run if he had to.
And it almost felt like it wanted to pull me.
At this point, he knew this was as close as he should go.
My style of storm chasing, I find it very difficult to turn my back on a storm. You just don't turn your back on something that incredible. And so you'll see me backing up, and then you'll see me crouched down. And a lot of people have always thought, oh, he's getting a low angle shot. He's trying to get the whole vortex in with a wide angle lens. Chris, I was on my knee. I gave thanks. That was one of the most incredible moments and incredible days. And with every passing year, I respect it more.
Reed's storm chasing is on pause for now, while he considers other things he'd like to do, such as writing a novel, perhaps drawing from his nearly 30 years of interacting with the marvels of nature.
In the months leading up to tornado season and warmer weather, Kansas wildlife have to work harder to find food to eat. That makes many creatures easier to spot on chilly winter days. Mike Blair captured some remarkable footage for this week's Kansas Wild Edge.
Mike Blair for Positively Kansas.
Next week, Mike brings us a bizarre story that you just have to see to believe. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is fascinating to see. The aviation industry is Wichita's bread and butter and has faced some challenges in recent years. One of them is the decline in the number of pilots. The number of licensed private airplane pilots has declined from 202,000 in 2010 to just over 160,000 in 2020. The cost of flying and a growing list of options for leisure may be two of the reasons, but Anna Spencer shows us how a Cheney teen may be helping to reverse that trend.
A pre-flight check is standard procedure for any pilot, but Mason Snyder is far from your typical flyer. Snyder, a Cheney High School senior, earned his private pilot certification this fall, and he did it in only 56 days.
I started lessons August 21st, and then we went 3 times a week for about 2 hours a day.
Becoming a pilot requires multiple steps. There's an application, extensive testing, and flight instruction, but for Snyder, it was all just part of the process toward achieving his ultimate goal.
Ever since I was a little kid, I just remember like looking up and I'd see a plane flying over, and I would just look at it and kind of just wish I was up there, and kind of kept that dream going, and that's what kept me going until I got my license.
The opportunity presented itself when Snyder needed to find an internship to fulfill a class project. While other students shadowed mentors in office buildings, Snyder found a way to take to the skies and pursue his dream. It's a plan his teacher agreed to, as long as it could be accomplished during the 9-week internship period.
I'm actually the only person in our school that did this, and I have one other friend who is the same age as me that wants to be a pilot, but he's waiting until he goes to K-State Salina next year to get his license. But I've heard like online and stuff with sharing like my experience, other people who've gotten their licenses even when they were 7, especially if they grow up in an aviation related family, then they get their license pretty quickly. But for the most part, you don't hear too much of people getting it like in high school, because it's just hard to like get it worked into your schedule.
While Snyder continues to fly high, the future of the aviation industry remains somewhat up in the air. We caught up with local retired airline captain Doug Moeller, who carefully follows the industry to get his perspective. Moeller believes with the rollout of the new coronavirus vaccine, things will be looking up for the industry soon.
People want to go and travel and see things and visit people and take care of commerce, you know. I think right now, if you want to learn how to fly right now, is the time to go knocking on the door of the flight schools and start checking prices and see what's going on.
This is good news for Snyder, who says his private pilot license is just the beginning.
My ultimate goal is to fly like corporate or something like that. Not quite commercial, but really honestly, wherever I'm needed, I'll go. I'll just take any opportunity to fly, because I mean, the fact that I could possibly make a career out of doing something I love is pretty awesome.
In the meantime, Snyder plans to earn additional flight hours and certifications before spreading his wings at Heston College in the fall. In Benton, I'm Anna Spencer for Positively Kansas.
Schneider's achievements continue to climb. He recently earned his high-performance endorsement and is now working on his tail wheel endorsement, all before high school graduation. Well, that's a wrap for this week. Email us at positivelykansas@kpts.org if you have a question, comment, or story idea. We love hearing from you, and we love having you watch the show. I'm Sierra Scott. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Program support provided by the F. Price Kosman Memorial Trust, Entrust Bank trustee, bringing you the Kansas Wild Edge segments on Positively Kansas.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas serves more than 930,000 Kansans in various programs. Independent, member-owned. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, an independent licensee of Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association, supports KPTS.
Before investing your hard-earned money, make sure your financial advisor understands your objectives. Mark Douglas, CFP, serving our community for over 20 years, providing customized financial solutions that focus on the individual.